This is question 33 from book number 1 based on the 2020 NEC, and this is electricaltime.com. What is the alternating current resistance in ohms for a 600 volt rated conductor where it is uncoated copper wire that is 1/aught in PVC conduit and is 1,000 feet long? Just want to take 30 seconds to let you know what we do here at electricaltime.com. We do online electrical classes from the comfort of your home. And then we also have this free service. So if you click on the subscribe for free NEC questions, Monday through Friday, you'll get an NEC code question and an answer sent to your email. All right, so back to our video. And the answer to this question is A, and that's 0.12 ohms to neutral. All right, so you're looking at this question and wondering, what article are we talking about here? Well, it's going to be a chapter 9 table. And they have all kinds of nice tables back there. You should probably go take a look once in a while at all the tables that they got in chapter 9. All right, so what we are going to do now is look in our textbook, and we've identified this as a chapter 9 table. And this is going to be chapter 9, table 9, AC resistance and reactance. All right, so before we get into our textbook here, let's just take a look at that table real quick so we become familiar with it. All right, so this is chapter 9, table 9 is called alternating current resistance and reactance for 600 volt cables, 3-phase, 60 hertz, 75 degrees C, 3 single conductors in conduit. All right, say that fast 3 times. All right, so the other thing I want to show you here is something called NFPA link. It's having the code book on your phone. It's pretty cool. And you can go to nfpa.org and you can find that there. All right, so let's take a look at how this table works. You got to be real careful with this table because we have something up here and it's ohms to neutral per 1,000 feet. All right, so you got to be real careful with this because you could pick the wrong number and it could really mess you up. And then on top of that, we've got ohms to neutral per kilometer. So depending on, which, scale you're looking at, you're either going to use the ohms to neutral per kilometer, but, you can also use the ohms to neutral per 1,000 feet. So in all of my questions that I'm going to be writing, we're going to be using feet. We're not using the metric system. All right, so you got to be real careful about that you are picking the correct row. And I'll show you why. Let's just use just one as an example, and then we'll come back to our problem. All right, so I'm going to zoom in on this a little bit here. So in our first column, we have the size in AWG. Then we're going to skip over where it says reactance for all wires. We're just going to skip over this right now. It's going to be for a later class. All right, but what I want to talk to you here about is the alternating current resistance for uncoated copper wires. And in here, we've got PVC conduit, we got aluminum conduit, and then we got steel conduit. So you got to know what kind of conduit you're working with. Really important, because otherwise, the numbers could be different. And they could be off by a little bit, which could make a difference. All right, so that's what we're going to be looking at for this question. And I'm going to leave these things highlighted, and then we're going to come back to this in about a minute. All right, so from our textbook, see NEC Chapter 9, Table 9, and we just looked at that. And look for 1/aught conductors in the first column, and then look over at the first column titled PVC conduit under the alternating current resistance for uncoated copper wires. At that intersection, there are two numbers. The first number is 0.39, and the second number is 0.12. The first number is ohms to neutral per kilometer, which is not what we want. We are looking for ohms to neutral per 1,000 feet. I'm going to highlight that. Ohms to neutral per 1,000 feet. So therefore, the second number, which is 0.12, represents the ohms to neutral for 1,000 feet, and that is the answer to the question. All right, so again, in our question, we were looking for the ohms to neutral for 1 aught. And let's go back here and we can see that. So that's 1 aught in PVC conduit, and it's 1,000 feet long. So let's go back to our table and let's see if we can find that. Again, we're looking for 1 aught, and I see that down here. And I'm going to zoom in on this so we can see this a little bit better. All right, so we got 1 aught over here. And again, we're in PVC conduit, so I'm going to erase these other guys here. So here, I've got the alternating current resistance for uncoated copper wires. I'm in PVC conduit, and if I go straight down, I see I got these two numbers over here. All right, there's the 0.39 and the 0.12. I want that one. I want the 0.12, and that is the answer to this question. And again, be very careful when you are working with this table, because up here it shows you that top number is going to be the ohms to neutral per kilometer, and then the bottom number is going to be the ohms to neutral per 1,000 feet.